Stamford Bridge on match week 7 of the Premier League wasn't just the stage for a marquee clash, it was a battlefield for survival. Pressure weighed heavily on both dugouts, Arne Slot fighting to steady Liverpool and Enzo Maresca feeling no less heat at Chelsea. 3 points here were more than a prize. They were the only antidote to the crisis swirling around both clubs. The tension was almost tangible before kickoff. Tens of thousands of Chelsea and Liverpool fans, hearts pounding in sync, filled the stadium with a nervous electricity. And when the captains, Virgil van Dijk and Reece James, led their teams out of the tunnel, the scene erupted. Smoke from flares rose, chants shook the stands, and the atmosphere screamed, this was no ordinary match. Contrary to expectations, Chelsea came out swinging. They refused to bow to Liverpool's high press, instead stepping forward with aggression and intent. After a cautious opening spell, the Blues landed a jaw-dropping sucker punch. And it came not from one of their forwards, but from the man who's been their most reliable performer all season, Moises Caicedo. Caicedo's long-range shooting is no secret, but no one could have imagined this. He unleashed a thunderbolt, a missile that tore through the air and bent cruelly into the top corner. No goalkeeper alive could have saved it. And certainly not Georgi Mamardashvili, Liverpool's towering new number 1, who stretched every inch of his massive frame, only to be reduced to a spectator. It was a strike for the ages, one destined to headline highlight reels. Stamford Bridge erupted. Pure chaos. Caicedo sprinted away, cupping his ears to soak in the deafening roar of the Chelsea faithful. Then, thumping the badge on his chest, he sent a message as clear as day. This is my home. I'll bleed for it. And I'll deliver moments like this again and again. That early stunner was more than just a goal. It was a dagger through Liverpool's game plan. It handed Chelsea the lead, but just as importantly, it set the tone for the rest of the night. Disciplined defending and lightning-fast counterattacks whenever the chance appeared. Liverpool's response to Caicedo's wonder strike was immediate and aggressive. Slot's men pushed their lines higher, flooding midfield with red shirts, probing for pockets of space between Chelsea's units. But the Blues had done their homework. Their defensive shape held firm, interceptions snapped in, tackles bit with precision, and every attempted incursion was met with proactive resistance. For all their possession, Liverpool could find no way to carve Chelsea open. Yet, cracks remained. The home side's makeshift backline, missing key figures through injury, betrayed moments of vulnerability. Dominik Szoboszlai, gifted acres of space, tested the nerves of Stamford Bridge with a flurry of efforts. Each shot carried menace, each one silencing the crowd for a heartbeat until they flew wide of the target. Still, it was a warning. Chelsea's defensive armor was not impenetrable. Liverpool doubled down on the flanks, relentlessly targeting Chelsea's full-back zones. Crosses whipped in, overlaps piled pressure, but the final pass lacked conviction. Opportunities dissolved at the crucial moment, leaving the Kop faithful groaning in frustration. As the half drew to a close, the spotlight shifted onto Alejandro Garnacho. In the span of 2 minutes, the young Argentine turned Bridge emotions from heartbreak to fury. First, a curling effort from the edge of the box, pure artistry. It skimmed low and venomous, reminiscent of Toni Kroos at his finest. Mamardashvili was rooted, defenders frozen, but fortune deserted Garnacho as the ball cannoned back off the post. Barely a minute later, chaos erupted. Garnacho surged down the left flank, slicing into the penalty area with blistering pace. Szoboszlai clipped him. Clear contact. Garnacho tumbled. Chelsea screamed for a penalty. Referee Anthony Taylor waved play on. No VAR signal, no reprieve. The Bridge erupted in fury. Enzo Maresca lost all restraint on the touchline, raging at the decision. His protests earned a yellow card. However, his anger was shared by the Chelsea faithful. They have long felt animosity toward Taylor. Halftime came with a strange symmetry. Liverpool had engineered 2 golden chances, Chelsea none since the opener. And yet, it was the Blues who walked down the tunnel with the lead intact, a fragile advantage in a match already boiling with drama. The second half began with a golden chance for Liverpool to level the score. Florian Wirtz, with a moment of sheer genius, slipped a pass through that left Mohamed Salah one-on-one. It felt destined. The King of Egypt, back at his old stomping ground, ready to silence Stamford Bridge. But not today. His finish was woefully off target, a shocking miss that sent Liverpool's hopes of an early equalizer spiraling. And it didn't stop there. Salah's struggles mounted. His trademark curling finishes, the silky touches that once defined him, were nowhere to be seen. Each attack broke down at his feet. Confidence drained, sharpness dulled. Marc Cucurella, of all people, seemed to have stripped the Liverpool talisman of his spark entirely. But just when frustration threatened to suffocate them, Liverpool found an unlikely breakthrough. Once again, Dominik Szoboszlai was the architect. Driving deep down the flank, he lifted a teasing ball between Alexander Isak and Cody Gakpo. At first, the chance looked wasted, until Isak's delicate touch unlocked a sliver of space. Gakpo pounced, rifling home from point-blank range to smash the roof of the net and drag Liverpool level. Arne Slot's face said it all. No wild celebration, no arms thrown to the sky, but the relief was visible. Half the pressure gone in an instant thanks to Gakpo's clinical strike. Yet even as Liverpool drew breath, Chelsea's nightmare deepened. Already forced to patch together a backline missing its leaders, Enzo Maresca faced disaster. Benoit Badiashile, the last natural centre-back standing, hobbled off injured. In desperation, Maresca dropped Romeo Lavia into the role, a square peg in a round hole. Minutes later, Josh Achiampong, the remaining central defender, was also forced out. Enter Jorel Hato, a fullback by trade, now pressed into duty at centre half. When the dust settled, Chelsea's defensive unit was a surreal sight. Reece James, Malo Gusto, and Hato, three fullbacks holding the fort in central roles. Liverpool smelled blood. They swarmed forward, testing the seams between Chelsea's makeshift defenders, firing ball after ball through the middle. The Blues had no choice but to retreat, to compress space, to survive. The strategy was no longer about countering or creating, it was about sheer resistance, fighting wave after wave of red pressure just to stay afloat. Into the final 15 minutes, the managers finally rolled the dice. Hugo Ekitike entered for the visitors, while Chelsea threw on the youthful spark of Jamie Gittins and Estevao. But as the clock ticked toward full time, their contributions were mostly half-chances and near misses, moments that drew groans rather than roars. Then came stoppage time, and with it, chaos. Barely seconds into added time, Enzo Fernandez ghosted into the box and rose for a header that stunned everyone. It was the kind of run you don't expect from a holding midfielder, appearing out of nowhere like he'd sprung from the ground itself. His effort beat Mamardashvili, but not the post, smacking off the woodwork as Stamford Bridge gasped in collective despair. And just when it seemed destined to end all square, fate had other plans. Minute 90+5. Fernandez, undeterred by his miss, slipped the ball wide to Marc Cucurella. The Spaniard whipped in a venomous cross to the far post, and like lightning, Estevao arrived. One touch, one clean finish, and the net rippled. Stamford Bridge exploded. Fernandez sprinted away in delirium, every ounce of regret from that missed header washed away. But the night belonged to someone else, Enzo Maresca. The Italian manager, usually composed, transformed into a storm. He sprinted down the touchline, engulfed by his players, roaring with the fans. In that moment, he wasn't just a coach, he was Chelsea. But Anthony Taylor hadn't forgotten. The referee calmly produced a second yellow for Maresca, sending him off in the midst of the mayhem. Did he care? Not in the slightest. Chelsea had won. They had bled, bent, and patched together a defense from scraps. But they had prevailed. A win built on resilience, unity, and a moment of pure brilliance from their teenage Brazilian. Estevao, slight of frame but immense in impact, had delivered a statement. The future of Chelsea, and of Brazil, wears his name. For Liverpool, though, this was nothing short of a nightmare. 3 straight defeats. Even the most pessimistic fan wouldn't have predicted a collapse this brutal. €500 million spent in the summer, and what has it bought? Not a single point against a Chelsea side that finished the game with no recognized centre-backs. Yes, the table still shows Liverpool in second, but with Arsenal in unstoppable form and Chelsea's patched-up warriors landing blows like this, what comfort is that really? The season is long, the margins thin, but Arne Slot now faces the biggest test of his tenure. Can he stop this freefall before it becomes a full-blown crisis of faith?